A few months ago, I went on a second date with a guy. Our waitress comes and she's like, "Hey, are you guys ready to order? Like, do you know what you want?" And he was like, "No, I think we need like 5 more minutes." He proceeds to tell her we need 5 more minutes for 2 hours.
Imagine going on a second date, and the guy doesn't want you to order a food. This is what happened to this woman. She shared her second date experience. It was time to order. The waiter is coming to be like, can I take your order now? Are you ready to, let me take your order now. And he keep dismissing her like we're not ready. Give us another 5 minutes. Let me read the video for you all to watch.
A few months ago, I went on a second date with a guy who was a few years older than me. He was like 29. And we had gone on our first date to like a brewery. We just grabbed drinks. It was like mellow. We just got to know each other. Typical first date. Second date, he was like, "Oh, I want to take you somewhere nice. Like, I'm going to get us reservations for this restaurant in town. Have you ever been there?" I hadn't. So he was like, "Okay, yeah, like, I think you should try this restaurant with me." Makes the reservation. Reservation is at like 7:30. So we go and meet up at a bar across the street at like, we were supposed to meet up at 6:45. I was running a little bit late, but had kind of told him like I'm having a chaotic day. Like I will try to be there by 7. And so meet up at 7 across the street, grab a drink, go across the street to the restaurant for our reservation. We sit down, order drinks there. And then, we're chatting, we talk about the menu, he tells me what he recommends off the menu, and then our waitress comes and she's like, "Hey, are you guys ready to order? Like, do you know what you want?" And he was like, "No, I think we need like 5 more minutes." And so she walks away. I was like, okay, maybe I didn't make it like clear, like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna get this." So I said it like, "Oh yeah, like the thing you recommended sounds good, like I think I'm gonna do that." We're sitting there, we're chatting, waitress comes by again. "Hey, do you guys know what you want?" He says, "No, I think we need like 5 more minutes." I was like, well, maybe he just doesn't want to interrupt like our conversation. We're having like a good conversation. So maybe he just wants to like continue the momentum of the conversation. She comes back again. He proceeds to tell her we need 5 more minutes for 2 hours. 2 hours. We're sitting there having a conversation, and I'm a great conversationalist. So like we just keep it going. It doesn't get like awkward. The conversation doesn't slow down. But at some point I'm like, when are we gonna like order, So he goes to the bathroom. The waitress comes to me. I'm sure I've been like blinking in Morse code, "Help me, I'm starving to death." Because when we were at the first bar before we went across the street, he asked me if I was hungry, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, like I had such a chaotic day. I'm so excited to just like chill out and eat." So he knew I was hungry. The waitress comes by while he's in the restroom and she's like, "Do you know what you want?" I was like, "Yeah, I think when he gets back from the bathroom, we'll be ready to eat, like ready to order." Because I didn't want to order, if he was going to pay, I didn't want to order while he was in the bathroom. I thought that would be rude. So he comes back, we're chatting, the waitress comes back and she asks if we're ready to order, and he says we need 5 more minutes. Finally, the waitress comes back and she's like, "We are closing the kitchen. Did you guys want to order some food?" He turns to me and he's like, "Are you even like hungry?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty hungry." Like, I'm sitting here in my brain like, what the fuck are you talking about? Am I hungry? Like, I told you 3 hours ago I was hungry. So we order an entree to share, and it was really good. The food was great. It comes out, he goes and takes a bite and immediately burns the roof of his mouth on the food. So he's sitting there pouting while I'm kind of like still picking at the food, like blowing on it to cool it down because I'm starving. And he goes, "Oh, like I can't even taste anything because I burned my mouth. You can eat the whole thing if you want. Like I don't care if you eat the whole thing." So I did. I ate the whole thing because I was like, "You kept me waiting here. It's now been 2.5 hours since our reservation. It's 10 p.m. They are closing the kitchen." By the end of the date, the tone was just kind of nasty because, we had started talking about tattoos. I have tattoos on my arms, and he had tattoos on like his chest, arms, like legs, all of it. And he was asking me, because I had a tattoo appointment coming up, he was like, "How much do you spend on your tattoos?" And I was like, I typically don't really discuss that kind of thing with people because I feel like tattoo pricing ranges so much depending on style and your artist and where it's placed on the body. But I told him, I was like, like typically it's in this like ballpark range because I have like bigger pieces. And he started scoffing at me. Like, I've never spent that much on a tattoo before. I've never spent over 200 on a tattoo. And I was like, well, my artist has 2 kids, and I feel like I'm supporting her family by continuing to go to her and provide her my business. And he was just like talking down at me basically for how much I've spent on my tattoos and insinuating that I'm getting scammed by my artist who I have a great relationship with. So I also felt like the fact that he was being weird about ordering food for both of us, I almost want to say it was like a money thing where it was like he couldn't afford the restaurant that he picked to take me to and was hoping that we would just get drinks and leave. But it's like I never asked him to take me to like this nice restaurant. This was something he said he wanted to do. And so to be upset with me that I do spend money on myself and my appearance and things that make me happy, because you're upset that you're the one paying for a nice dinner you asked to take me to, I was just confused. And then usually when I'm on like a first, second, or even like sometimes a third date, I will plan something for after the date so that I have an excuse to leave if I feel like things aren't going well. So I was like, oh yeah, I did tell my friend I was gonna go help her like put together her bed frame tonight. And you know, it's getting late. It was like 10:30 at this point. I was like, I really need to like go help her out because otherwise she doesn't have a bed frame put together to sleep on tonight. And I was offering to like stay with him and wait for the check and like hang out. And he was like, no, you can go. Just go. I was like, okay, well, have a good night. Like, I was just so confused. I was like, I don't know what I did to warrant being spoken to this way. I thought the date was going pretty well until the tattoo conversation came up. So the fact that it spiraled out of control from there was just very confusing to me.
Hey, beautiful people, how are you doing today? It's your girl, Mara Davids, and thank you so much for tuning in another interesting video. What would you do if you're in that position? Would you stand your ground and be like, I am ready to order, I want to eat, or I want to drink something? Or you would wait because you don't want to interrupt the whole date, or you don't want to interrupt the conversation going on? What would you do if you're in that position? I have your reaction on this video. Let's go ahead and watch the stitches together, and yeah, we'll talk about it.
I need the girls to be meaner in 2025. I watched a TikTok yesterday, which I sent to like my friends, and then I watched again today, of a lady who went on a second date, and she came and told, you know, the story of how her second date went. So basically, before she got on the date, you know, again, second date, so she's met him before, she was like, okay, cool, let's meet here because I'm starving. Important note. So then they go on this date or whatever, and they're sitting at, I think they were at a bar. I don't know if they were still, yeah, I think they were still at the bar. Whatever. So then they're talking, you know, like when the waitress comes and asks, oh, do you know what you want? And then he's like, oh, we're going to need 5 more minutes. According to her, he continued to 5 more minutes, the wait staff, for 2 hours. You sat there for 2 hours while this man dismissed the wait staff after you already told him that you was fucking hungry. And you allowed him to do that shit for 2 hours. You allowed him to, oh, just 5 more minutes. She leaves, come back. Oh, just 5 more minutes. And then he goes to the bathroom. The waitress, or the waitress comes to you, says, do you know what you want? She's like, yeah, but you know what? He went to the bathroom, so I'm gonna wait. What? Y'all make my fucking head hurt. Y'all make my fucking head hurt. And then so she is like, first of all, you was already hungry before you sat down. And now 2 hours later, you're famished. And then he's like, yeah, well, you know, he has to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to wait for him to come back from the bathroom. Bitch, y'all piss me off. Y'all piss me off. I don't understand. What the fuck was that? And then so he comes to the, back to the table from the bathroom. And then the waitress finally had to be like, hey, kitchen's gonna close in 15 minutes. What do you want? Then he gonna turn around and be like, I mean, are you even hungry? Bitch, I will... So she orders the food. Then he's like, oh, I burned a hole in the roof of my mouth. Thank God. Thank God. And then he was like, you can eat it if you want. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll eat it. Blah, blah, blah. Then somehow they started talking about tattoos. You know how date shit goes. She talks about her tattoos that she has and how much she spent. And then the man's gonna go, I never spent that much on tattoos. Bitch, I'm gonna take this fork and I'm gonna... Okay. So then, after that, she's still there. She's still there. Mind you, it's probably been 3 hours now. Because remember, it was 2 hours while the date was going on. It was 2 hours that she didn't eat. And the guy kept saying, oh, no, just give us 5 more minutes. Just give us 5 more minutes. Why are you still there 2 hours later when you told the man that you was fucking hungry and he knew you was fucking starving before he came on a date? He came on a date and he kept dismissing. There is nothing important that y'all are talking about that you can't hurry up and order for 5 fucking minutes. And then talking about the tattoo stuff. Ugh, well, I never spent this much on a tattoo. Then she goes to explain why she spent that much on fucking tattoos. Oh, well, you know, the tattoo artist has kids. Why are you explaining? Why are you
Oh my God.
I'm gonna pop a blood vessel. I'm so irritated. And then I guess, you know, her way out, her escape plan is for her to tell him like, oh, I have to go help my friend, you know, assemble her bed because she's not going to have a bed tonight. And then she was talking about, oh, I offered to stay with him. If you were planning to leave, why are you offering to stay with him? You guys... And then the man goes, no, it's fine. You can just go. Just go. And she shook. And the other crazy thing was that she was like, I thought things were going great up until the tattoo question. You mean after the 2 hours he made you starve?
Oh my God.
You mean that 2 hours he made you starve after you said you was fucking hungry? The 2 hours! You thought things was going well. You know, I used to ask myself when I hear these stories, how come I've never been on no insane date stories? And I think the answer is because I'm strict. Or, not even I'm strict. I just don't want my time wasted. Odds are, at the first date, he showed some of this shit. And yes, this is, you know, victim blaming, whatever. And I know it's not all the time, but I'm just like, what did y'all do the first date that the second date he was showing his entire ass? I just feel like the girls are not as strict as y'all claim to be. Y'all say y'all not strict. Y'all listen to Megan Thee Stallion and you don't fucking listen. Why did you sit there hungry for 2 hours? Bitch, for me, even when I'm at a restaurant by myself, because I remember I was in LA, I was at breakfast. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I want. And then the waitress left and I came back and I was like, I'm not sure. And she was like, I could come back. I said, no, if you leave, I'm not going to know what I want. So I'm just going to order right now. And I just ordered something. I don't understand it. First of all, how do you meet? No, she said she met him on Hinge, I think. I think it was Hinge. But anyway, I'm just like, I need the girls to be meaner in 2025. Yeah. Because you saw the flags. And if he's going to keep, oh no, we need 5 more minutes for a second time, I'm going to be like, you know what? Let me order because I don't want this waitress to come back here. And we still haven't picked something. So let's go ahead and pick something. There is no conversation. There is no date talk that is important to where I'm going to miss my fucking food. If I'm already hungry when I walk in the bitch. And that man is going to try to 5 more minutes me to death. Bitch, I'm going to eat him. I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to stick it in his arm and I'm going to eat him. Anyway, I'm getting irritated all over again. But the moral of the story is, please be stricter in 2025. Please be stricter. Stop allowing these men to play in y'all fucking faces. She really said, oh, I thought the date was going well until the tattoo question. 2 hours later?
A few months ago, I went on a second date with a guy. And our waitress comes and she's like, hey, are you guys ready to order? Like, you know what you want? And he was like, no, I think we need like 5 more minutes. He proceeds to tell her we need 5 more minutes for 2 hours.
You know, you all aren't being nice. You're showing men you have absolutely no boundaries. It's got nothing to do with being kind. I encourage you to be kind, but that starts with being kind to yourself, honoring your needs. You sat there for 3 hours hungry because old boy was on a power trip. That's what this was. She kind of got it at the end. He didn't want to order food. Yeah, he wanted to look like a big baller by taking you out to the fancy restaurant and talking, making it near impossible to order by continually sending the waitress away, hoping you would never speak up and thus would go hungry. I'm not just speaking to this situation. I'm talking about women in general. If you all continue to choose to date men, all you need to do it better is to put yourself first. Because this woman has the same instincts as the woman who actually put herself first. It's just she didn't act on them. She said, okay, the third time he said 5 more minutes, I was like over it. I was antsy. I was ready to order. So I would have just said, I'm ready now. The waitress is asking everybody, are you ready to order? I am. You think really legit that it's your conversation is too engaging? I would just say, well, I'll just be quiet for a minute while I'm ordering. You can sort out what you like. Or you recommended the restaurant. You chose it. You're telling me what dishes you like. Pick one and let's go. As I said when I got here, I'm quite hungry. And I feel like we're only getting 2 polar opposites of content from dating right now. We're getting a lot of these, and on the other complete different side, you're seeing women who get everything they want out of dating. And the women on both sides have the same desires. They're both dating. Yeah. They both want relationships. They're all beautiful. Yeah. And they all have the same thoughts running through their heads as these scenarios are occurring. This is weird. Or what an odd thing to say. Because I should clarify, the women who are having the great time in dating, everything they post is not a home run, but they're telling you how they got out of the situation early. He said whatever crazy thing, I got up and walked away. He asked me out on a coffee date, I blocked him. He started looking at the ceiling when the bill came. I looked at the ceiling too and asked him had he lost his wallet up there. I'm poking a little fun, but at the end of the day, it's not that they don't encounter hard times on the way to getting what their goal was. Even the same hard time, it's just the reaction differs. And that reaction is always based on putting themselves first. He's there with you because he wants to be. Like I said, men are getting something out of dating you. Whether it's a boost to the social image because she said he's older, by the way, age gap, red flag. But whether he's showing you off to boost his ego, whether he's siphoning your energy like he did to this girl all night, he's getting an advantage out of being with you. And that's why he wants to be there. It's an automatic benefit built into patriarchy. You have to make sure you're going to get yours. And I'm betting she emerged from this encounter feeling drained because then he had something negative to say about her tattoos, how much she paid. You're getting gypped. He wants to be the expert at your expense, which is why he went for a younger woman. And then he doesn't even want to pay the basic bare minimum cost of feeding you on a date. Yuck. In 2025, I need you all to be ruthless because that is what is being kind to yourself. Your first loyalty should always be to yourself. Because if this is what a stranger can get away with, later down the line, when you're invested in a relationship and you think you're in love with the guy, you're going to let him get away with murder. And a lot of women, they never want to stand out. They never want to make a fuss. Start breaking that habit today. Your number one commitment needs to be to honor yourself. You don't care what everyone else is doing. And I know some of that's social. Women have been socialized that it's greedy or something to eat food that we need to live. So they never want to eat unless somebody else says, okay, break that habit. I don't know about you guys. I'm hungry, so I'm ordering. And once you do it, everybody's going to fall in line. Oh, I was starving. I just want to get the ball rolling. Thank you. I was ready. Oh my God. I thought it was too soon, but if you're eating, I'll eat something too. Confident women attract followers automatically, not because they're doing anything extraordinary, but because other people have often wanted the thing that they're getting. They just were not brave enough to speak up about it. Don't be afraid to rock the boat. That's what going out and knowing you have your own is for. It doesn't mean you're not requiring him to step up and treat you like a lady if he wants to take you out on a date, but it means you don't have to sit there in uncomfortable silence if he chooses not to be a gentleman. She's like, oh, I could sense he wasn't ordering food because he was being weird about money. Well, if you can afford the restaurant, who cares what he's doing?
Yeah.
If you want to put the razzle dazzle on it, the third time he said, oh, just 5 more minutes, I would have been like, I'm ready to order. If he gave pushback, let the waitress go on about her business and have the hard conversation. Is this about the bill? I'm so sorry. I thought this was a date. If we're just friends, I'm awfully sorry about the misunderstanding, but I'm more than happy to pay for my own food. Order, get yours to go, and walk. But I have to say, women are not uncomfortable walking out of dates because it's so uncomfortable, even because they think it's dangerous. It's because they're still holding on to the fairy tale, the delusion that inspired the guy acting like a complete jackass in the early stages. He's going to turn out to be Prince Charming. Oh, I still wanted to give it a chance. Oh, I don't want to be too harsh. When it comes to bad behavior with men, what you see is always what you get. He's not hiding a great person under jackassery. He doesn't like you. All you're doing when you sit there taking bad treatment is letting him know you tolerate it and he can do what he likes. He's going to therefore act worse. But even if there was still a minuscule chance he was going to turn out to be the knight in shining armor, do you really want a guy who tests you first? Who thinks only some women are deserving of good treatment, or someone who's a gentleman and treats everyone well without expecting something in return? Because you're nice. You put everyone's feelings above yours, which is not a good trait. But I'm just making the observation, you go out of your way to make everybody comfortable. Shouldn't you want a partner who cares that much about you? 99.9% of men are not secretly Mr. Darcy, okay? They're not going to start out being an asshat and turn into Prince Charming. They are just going to get worse and worse and worse. And these are the women who come to the public square 20 years into the marriage. Oh my God, he's so awful. When did he change? He never changed. He got worse. But this is always who he's been. He was always bad. It's just progressed because you've accepted less and less and less with time. But I want you all to understand this is a mindset, because when these women come to the public square and you ask them, why do they stay? It's, oh, we're in love, the kids, the finances, the blah, 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 blah. Why did this person stay on this date for 3 hours? Being held captive, hungry, her needs were being ignored, and then the guy started insulting her choices. This was just a second date. You have nothing invested in this person. You don't seem to like him that much. Why are you sitting there? Because you have inculcated yourself to believe you are worth less. 2025 can be your year if you start putting yourself in the exalted position that has been held by men and others in your life. Put yourself up on the pedestal, okay? Knock everything else down, because you're the only one who has to live with your choices 24/7. Make better ones. That's it. Like, follow for more.
Is it only me that's going to get very angry even in the next 30 minutes? I'm already hungry before the date, okay? And I told you about it. Then went to a restaurant. I am smelling different kind of food. I am seeing them dropping food on different tables. And they keep coming to our table. Are you ready to make an order? And you're saying 5 more minutes. And you expect me to sit, even if I want to sit down there for 2 hours, which is not possible. My face has changed. I'm already angry. I'm already irritated by whatever conversation that is going on, because I feel like I am not important. Okay, so whatever conversation that is going on, definitely you're the one talking. He's the one doing the talking because I will not have energy to talk. Because if I'm hungry, I am hungry. I need to eat. And the thing is, if you have your own money, if you're hungry, it shows that, and he's saying, come back. After 2 hours, you are sitting there. In short, 1 hour, maybe you were trying to be patient and trying to see the good in people. 1 hour is even too much. 30 minutes. Because once you place your order, it will take the chef to cook the meal for another 30 to 45 minutes. So that's already a long time to wait. So you guys can continue the conversation while you place an order. So you sat down there hungry and you are listening to gist or you are listening to conversation for 2 hours. I would have lost it. I will be very angry, very irritated. And the thing is, the way I feel shows in my face. If I'm angry, you will know that, Mariah is angry. If I'm happy, you will know. If I'm disgusted, you will know. Okay, so you will see all your emotions on my face even without talking. And even you feel very uncomfortable and you don't have a choice than to say, okay, you have to call the waiter, come and take our order. And if I wait at a particular time and I'm very hungry, I am going to place the order and pay for my meal. And I feel like that's going to be the end. Of course, that's going to be the end of the, because this is a date. In my own head, if you're taking a woman on a date, you should be able to pay for a meal, at least pay for the meal. You cannot take a woman to a date and expect her to split the bill. It doesn't make sense in my own head. Okay? I don't know if people do that, but it doesn't make sense. If you're not ready to pay for a meal, do not ask a woman out on a date. You taking a woman out on a date and you're not making sure that she's well fed, you have a problem. And it's not because maybe she was not eating good food before, or she's a hungry lion, because most of these men, they tell you that I'm testing her, I'm going to order so many food, let me see if she's going to finish it. Then when you finish it, they tell you, oh, you're a hungry person, you're not a wife material. Taking a woman on a date, you allow her to leave her comfort zone. She probably might have cooked in her house or probably held out or something. She went on a second date with you and you are using conversation to tie her down and telling. It's even embarrassing as the waiter or the waitress was coming to ask, are you ready? It's very embarrassing. The thing is, where I'm from, at a point, they will tell you, you cannot continue sitting down here if you don't place an order. Where I'm from, if you go to a good restaurant and they're coming to meet you, I want to take your order. The third time they'll come and meet you, they'll tell you, you can't continue sitting down here if you don't place an order. That's how they will embarrass you, okay? So you yourself, you cannot go to that place and not order. So even if you don't know what to order, ask for recommendation. Even if you're still confused about the menu, you don't know what you feel like eating, you don't even have appetite. So if you enter a restaurant and they came to meet you, you have to place an order one way or the other, okay? So you took a woman to a date and she told you already that she's hungry. 2 hours and she sat there. I feel like that's the crazy part. And I agree with the two creators saying that you have to be strict in 2025. Strict means choose yourself. I think that's just it. Always choose yourself, whatever makes you happy. Always choose yourself. Be bold enough to make some decision that is selfish, okay? Even though it is only you that will benefit from that decision, make it. Because if it was the other way, they will choose themselves. If you're not hungry and probably you went on a date with him, he would have ordered his food and he will start eating and tell you, oh, you're not hungry, then don't eat or something. They always choose themselves. So choose yourself and stick your ground. You cannot be hungry and sitting down having conversation and you're not eating. It just shows how probably you're not so hungry, you're just saying it, or you're afraid. To me, I feel like it sounded as if she's afraid to ask for a meal because she doesn't want to annoy him. She doesn't want to interrupt the conversation. She doesn't want to say what's on her mind because she might lose him and because probably she likes him, maybe physically, or she feels like it might be somebody she might want to end up with. So she's trying to be careful not to say some things or behave a kind of way. So she's trying to put things together and not to annoy him, if that makes sense. But to me, it doesn't make sense. Okay, 2 hours was too much. It's a very long time for you to allow him do things. Let's say 30 minutes. He's like, come back. And you'd be like, okay, I'm hungry. I want to order food now. Like, what is going on? Why are we here if we're not eating? We can continue the conversation. The food will take another 45 minutes. We're still here. And even after you order the meal, you are still there for another 1 hour. You all saying that until you started talking about the tattoo before you knew that the date was going wrong. So all this while when he was telling them, come back in the next 5 minutes, the date was not going wrong, it was going well. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Is it because maybe you're afraid that you might not find somebody else, or it's very difficult out there to find someone? So that is why women just want to lower their standard and settle for whatever comes their way. Maybe because, and if you have that mentality, you will definitely settle for less and you will not get a good person. You need to know your worth and you need to know what you want, and you need to be selfish about your decision. You need to choose yourself always. You are hungry, you place an order immediately, and you eat. Whatever conversation that is going on, let it continue going on. You have to be yourself and just. Anyways, what would you do if you're in a position and you went on a date with a guy? Second date. We don't know how the first date went, but this was the second date. And it was talking for 2 hours and you are hungry. What would you have done if you're in a position? Kindly share your thoughts down in the comment section. Respectfully, Chagel Maya David, and thank you so much for tuning in. Another interesting video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.